My name's Helen Brock and I'm Director of HLF Trust, and Kick Arts is one of our most important projects. It's been fantastic being at the Pitt Rivers Museum because the collection here has provided an endless source of inspiration. It's impossible not to be inspired, and the quality of being inspired is hugely important. If you feel inspired, you feel you can do anything. So this place has given them inspiration, time to be reflective and to work with some fantastic and inspirational people.
We work with young people who are vulnerable learners, so they may be school refusers, they may be in danger of being excluded, they may have mental health issues, they may just be struggling in mainstream education and need a bit of time out to reset. They come to Kick Arts for 1 day a week, and what happens during the day is a series of creative provocations, experiences. We're like a little creative laboratory, really. What works really well with Kick Arts is the fact that we're based at the Pitt Rivers Museum, and that we've got access to the Pitt Rivers and the Natural History Museum because they're such rich resources. They inform our work enormously, and they give the young people the chance and space to explore history and to think about who they are in the context of humanity and in relation to evolution. And I mean, those are big concepts, but adolescents are often quite existential thinkers. So it's a real secure base from which to explore who we are personally. And we work very closely to create a group that's very safe, and there are young leaders who are training to be facilitators who work alongside us. One of the young people found a quote which says, "Art's learning which mistakes to keep." And I think that's really profound. So often our process is making mistakes and enjoying those mistakes and learning that perhaps things aren't quite as right and wrong as everyday life teaches us.
I was part of the team on Kick Arts this year as a young leader. Some people, including myself, find it hard to go to museums, or it's not where they're meant to be, or like they're not welcome. And working on this project with the young people and seeing the partnership with the Pitt Rivers has kind of opened my eyes to the impact that it can have, and that the museum and taking steps to kind of build that bridge.
On this project, I was working with HLF Trust as the heritage worker, which was an absolute departure from what I do day to day. It was magical, really. I've worked here for 2 years now, and it was great to be working with the young people to see how the museum can be reinterpreted, and that made me think, actually, who is the museum for? What is creativity about? What's been really magical about the process is that through looking at objects, we've been able to tell each other the stories of our lives, and that's made me really help to reflect on how I am as a person, how I articulate myself, how I think about my worth and my value, and how I've been able to kind of be bigger than I am in my usual role. Not only how I use museum objects, but also how I use my personality.
Kick Arts has changed the way I think about a museum in the way that you can see how all these artifacts from different backgrounds, they're not just objects from a while ago, they're art from people of different originations and backgrounds and countries and tribes that have made their art as a statement, and it's in a museum to show how art is evolved across the world.
Kick Arts in the museum and having the opportunity to go in and see the items in the museum has definitely inspired him a lot more than if he was somewhere else. I think he's taken a greater interest in the museum, it's given him more ideas, it's definitely inspired his photography, for example, and he certainly loves the museum.
Having the Pitt Rivers Museum as a resource that has staff that were willing to work with the young people on the Kick Arts course, to let them handle the artefacts, to touch and to smell and to really size them up, and to then use them as inspiration for their work, has got to be the biggest draw, that partnership between the Kick Arts and the Pitts Rivers. The museum is historical, they're creating their own histories, and by using artefacts that have been handled or used by people in the past, they're bringing them into their work for the present and using them in their own journeys and their own development.
I'll describe Kick Arts as a inspiring journey to be on. So we took a little trip to the museum. I was searching around and I came across this thing called a story skin, and it was this ancient guy. He had like carved his battles into like some sort of fabric. He got his message across and his story, and I wanted to do that in my work, and I made a modern version of it. The fun was part of the work. Like if we weren't having fun, we weren't doing it properly. It just came naturally, so we'd laugh but still being serious. Yeah.
I think the setting for Kick Arts as well has been really important in this whole process and the programme, because it's given our young person an opportunity to access the museums that are local to where he lives, but maybe he's not had the opportunity to go and visit them before. But he's also taken things from them. He's had some visits, he's been inspired, and some of that inspiration has come through in his own work. I think that's really powerful.
I had high expectations today because I came last year to see a friend's work. When I walked in, I was completely overwhelmed by the quality and the amount. Actually brought me to tears, I have to say, that just to see the young people so proud of what they've achieved and the way it's displayed, that they can kind of really put themselves out there and show what they can do.
I am absolutely in awe and totally impressed by each of the young people, particularly our young person. It really shows he's reflected on his work and he's so proud of his work and the way that he's displayed it and explained to us what he's done and why he's done it. I can see that all the children, and particularly him, have really got a lot out of this.
They are expressing themselves artistically, emotionally, and they're learning how to relate emotionally and artistically to each other. So it's not just this world that's inside their own heads and bodies. It's something that they can begin to express in a meaningful way, which gives them huge meaning, and also, it benefits us because, we can relate to them.
Coming here now and having this experience in the exhibition, talking to young people, seeing the work that they've done, has been like chicken soup for the soul. I'm leaving here with such an amazing feeling, and I feel contented, and I see how the young people are content and comfortable in their own skins, and that has happened as a result of the experiences that they've had on Kick Arts. The number of times I've had goosebumps in the last hour and a half has been quite something. That's very moving.
At the start of Kick Arts, I was very nervous and trying to keep to myself because that's the type of person I am. But then as my journey progressed, I got more confident in my own body. It's helped me develop as a person and understand life a bit more and understand what I want to do.
So, there's the immediate impact that this has had on Eve. Every week she's buzzing because of something that she's been doing, because of the confidence she's getting from her teachers, from her peers. But then in 10 years' time, you'll ask Eve, how did you get to where you are? And she'll talk about Kick Arts and the people here and Pitt Rivers. This kind of thing is one of the foundation blocks of her becoming who she will be in the future.